Tired of having those small amounts of filament laying around in baggies or random spools of PLA collecting dust that you're never going to use? Well, I've got the solution to your problem, and it's in today's video, so come check it out. What's up, everyone? Back at it again. It is DW Darkwing Dad, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about recycling filament. Well, kind of in a sense. If you're like me, you've probably tried a lot of different filaments and you like to kind of stock up on filament when there's a good deal. And traditionally what happens, you start printing stuff and things cycle down, and maybe you've gone through on a box and you've written down how much filament you use, but it always gets to that certain point on your filament spool where there's just not enough to do anything. You've got it sitting in baggies, you've got it laying around and just collecting dust, and sometimes it just goes to waste. Now, of course, we know we can do filament changes on the fly, and sometimes they're a home run, and other times they're not so great. It can get pulled in by the extruder and completely miss the boating tube, which creates under extrusion, or sometimes you do it perfectly and it just doesn't line up the right way. You get that minor seam. Today, what I'm going to show you is a filament merging tool, and what it is to take any bits of filament, TPU, PETG, anything you might have, and you can actually merge these together to make a longer roll of filament ultimately. This tool is really awesome because, like I said, if you have something like a printer that maybe doesn't have a filament runout sensor, or you just don't like doing filament changes on the fly, you can simply merge them together and just make a whole new roll of filament in a sense. Now, there's no mystery with what's going on with today's economy. Everything is costing more and more. I've seen over the last few months the cost of filament has gone up more and more. So yes, this piece does cost you some money, but it is going to save you money in the long run. For any creator who's doing multiple prints and using a ton of filament, this is definitely beneficial to you because, like I said, the cost of all this stuff has gone up. What I'm going to do is show you a little bit of this tool here, explain a little bit about it, demo it for you, show you how it works, and then show you how it worked on a print of mine. All right, so having a look at the PLA connector here, it is by a company called Vitsport, and it does have a heating element in it, and what it does is it heats up the PLA, TPU, PETG, and it merges it back together. It does have to be plugged into the wall, but you can see here it's kind of a crimp style. It's funny that they 3D printed a little stand there on the bottom and have that little wire connector there, but it comes with some very nice snips there that also come with a case, and it also has some sandpaper in a tube, and I will show you how that works. So what we'll do is get this plugged in here and give you an example of how to merge your PLA. All right, so obviously the first thing you want to do is plug your unit in, and you want to turn the unit on and let it warm up for about 2 to 3 minutes. Once it's completely warmed up, you can kind of feel it. Just be careful because, like I said, there is a heating element in there. You want to turn your unit back off. We don't want it so hot to where it's over melting the filament that we're using. So we want to turn it off and immediately just kind of crimp down on the unit. Put your one side of your PLA in, line it up with that middle section there, close it, and then take the next piece of the filament that you are using and slide it in. And what you're going to want to do is put a little bit of pressure on this. You're going to want to push it so it's kind of smushing it and merging it together. So it's still warm, but it is gradually cooling down. Once you have it to an adequate spot, you want to let it sit for about 4 to 5 minutes. We want that filament to obviously heat up, merge together, and then cool down completely. So once 4 to 5 minutes has passed, just simply pop this open, and you can see here that the filament has merged together. Now we have a little bit of cleanup we have to do, but it's no big deal. What you want to do is take your snips that are provided with you and snip off as much of the excess as possible, and then just take some of the sandpaper here and just kind of sand it down. It really doesn't take that long. It only took me about 30 to 45 seconds to get it nice and smooth. You want to kind of inspect the PLA and make sure it's not flared out too much. It's nice and smooth, and then we can move it over to the printer and start our print. So here, nothing crazy. I started with just some Prylene pink filament that I had left over. Now when it came to where the filament merge was, I wasn't sure how well it was going to go because I seen that it flared out a little bit, but I was printing it on my CR6 SE and it fit just fine. There was no issues, there was no clogging. Ultimately, it pulled it back through. You can see here that it finished the print just fine. There was no issues where the filament change occurred. Turned out really nice, and ultimately a nice little add-on that you can get if you're trying to conserve money and save filament in the long run. A very nice tool. Like I said, it's something where I have multiple rolls of filament. I'm going to go through and kind of merge all these together. So maybe I have some spools that have 300 and 400 grams versus 5 spools that have, maybe 89 to 115 grams. Very nice tool. I know it's been out there. Some people haven't seen it. If you're looking to save a little bit of money, be a little bit more conservative, and use every single piece of your filament that you might have laying around, this is a great option for you. The cost of filament, the cost of everything just seems to continue to go up. So something like this, that may cost you $50 is really going to save you money in the long run. I would have multiple pieces of filament just laying around that just never got used, or I'd end up printing things that I just didn't need. With this tool, you can merge all those pieces together, especially if you're doing raw prints that you're gonna sand, paint off, and make them look great. It's a great piece. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. Very easy to use, comes with everything that you need, save you a ton of filament in the long run, and have you be more resourceful and save you money. If you liked the video and found it helpful, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you guys have any questions or comments, of course, drop me a comment, you know I'll respond. I've seen other methods where people were trying to take pieces of Bowden tube and heating them with the torch and running it through. And I've tried it, and all I resulted in was burnt fingertips and just a mess that didn't work. Go ahead and pick that up. Drop me a comment. Let me know if you like it. Speaking of liking things, if you like all things 3D printing, DIY, cosplay, collectibles, and Funkos, things that we're doing on the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Got a lot more fun builds to come. I appreciate each and every one of my subscribers that watch this video. Next thing on deck here, if you can't see, it's the Crashworks helmet. I'm wrapping up that motorized Ironman helmet. Should be out in about a week or so. Got a lot of editing to do, so I'm gonna try to get on it and get that video done for you. That's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna get back to my next project. Drop me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. Until next time, DW out. Later.